My fellow Nigerians, I speak to you today with a heavy heart and sense of responsibility, aware of the turmoil and violent protests unleashed in some of our states. Notably,
Wow. Oh, yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the globe. Today, the 4th of August, 2024, it is your darling program, The Comrade Show. It's called The Comrade and Friends, a segment of your regular program, The Comrade Show. Today is indeed very interesting. There are a lot happening in the international scene. There is the ongoing there is the ongoing sport taking place at the moment, the Olympics taking place in France, and of course, in recent times, you know that with the Democratic Party, there is now Kamala Harris on the front seat. But there are so many in the international scene, but there's a lot happening in our dear country, Nigeria, that we're just going to take a little while away from the international scene and focus more on the issues affecting our country, Nigeria. There's no gainsaying the obvious anymore that there's been an August protest in Nigeria tagged the End Bad Governance. And that started since the 1st of August, running to today, the 4th of August. A lot of Nigerians, and indeed the protesters, have been yearning for their president to address them. And Ola, today, the president of Nigeria addressed the nation. We are going to be looking into that and trying to see if the president did justice to the current travails befalling Nigeria as a country. Youths have taken everything and they've gone to the street to protest, to at least let people know what is happening and crying to the government to come to their rescue. Also, too, Edo State is not left out. The protest has also taken place in Edo State. And only, I think, about a year or two ago, when COVID was about to come to an end, there was the issue of palliative, bag of rice, and the attendant issue as again greeted the Edo State government and Governor Godwin Obaseki, and there were protesters far and wide scrapping for leftover of bag of rice. And you will answer, what has bag of rice become of Edo State? This we shall be talking about today. And of course, not forgetting the governorship election 2024, scheduled for September 21, where Labour Party is really crisscrossing and gaining grants. We shall indeed be talking about that. Do not touch that die. Join us. I'll be with you in a moment. And the comrade himself is in situ.
Edo people, who's your guy? Olumid, Apata, Olumid. See us we dey like beans and rice. Edo people, I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever. Time.
Oh yes. Welcome back. I did told us that there's a lot happening in the international scene, but we are not interested in that now. There's a lot happening in our dear country, Nigeria. I am not alone. I have the CNC of the Comrade Show, Comrade Ponsa Oraki, with us today. My dear brother, Comrade Ponsa Oraki, can you say hello to our viewers?
Thank you very much, Comrade Ponsa. Yes, Nigerians across the world, greetings to you all. And please, if you are joining us, help share our broadcast. If you're on Facebook, share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Of course, Mr. Pharmacist, you are looking quite radiant today.
Yeah, thank you so much. You remember that August is my month, and those born in August are really special people. But I must also say that you are always sweet. I don't know if you are part of the protest, but you are looking very comrade as usual with your resource control cap.
What can we do, my brother? What can we do? There's so much happening.
Absolutely. Comilante, let's just get down to it. I want to beg our viewers, you know the deal. Please share. At some point, the lines will be open. Pick up your phone and contribute on some of the huge topics that we'll be talking about today. Comilante, Nigeria has been in turmoil. Nigeria has been distressed. And starting from the 1st of August, Nigerians, especially the youths, came out in their drove from Lagos to Kaduna, Bauchi to Maduguri, Benin to Delta State, and even some part of the East. Is being demonstration, protest far and wide. Even if one can say that the security agencies have been a bit very cooperative, but as days begin to go by, a lot has indeed happened. But we must commend the youths for standing resolute, even in the face of provocation, in the face of oppression, and I dare say in the face of intimidation, as we saw even in Abuja, where there was everything was done just to thwart the effort. We must commend Nigerians. They actually said it's going to be 10 days of this protest. Today is day 4. Some will also argue that the steam is coming down. But respite came some form yesterday evening when it was released that the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be addressing the nation. And I think that in a way gave some form of succor to the protesters because they were expecting more. But I must say, without making judgment, probably to hear your views and the views of our contributors today or those that will be ringing in. Having listened to the speech of the president, I was indeed not impressed. So, Comrade Lante, just before we talk about that, what is your take on the current hunger protest tagged End Bad Government currently in day 4 in our dear country, Nigeria?
May we just take a little, just watch some excerpts, or maybe just this from Lagos, and we'll take it from there. Well, coming to your question, my brother, honestly, the last couple of days, the last 4 days have been quite tumultuous, quite difficult. They were days that we can look at with mixed feelings. Mixed feelings, rising from the fact that, yes, for once, after a long time, Nigerians were able to, come together genuinely, under the same purpose and express, their feelings, ventilate their anger, particularly bordering on just one subject, and that subject is the subject of hunger. Nigerians came together to exercise a constitutional right, to exercise a human right, item, a very important aspect of our human rights, to say no to the way the country is coasting and has been for a very long time. So I would say it was positive from that respect. But again, mixed feelings because the victims have been recorded, people have died, people have been injured, police have targeted protesters, shot at them. In some places, particularly in the north, it was reported to be quite violent. And of course, beyond that, other Nigerians became victims of the protest. Stores were looted, Nigerians too were impacted and affected. Against some very mixed feelings itself is still, because the whole process has left some questions, more than answers. have the voices of Nigerians be heard by the authorities? Can we say the authorities are victim of any sort as far as this matter is concerned? Or is it a wasted exercise? Where do we go from here? And so when we not juxtapose the protest against the backdrop of what we heard from Mr. President by way of his national address, and we now look at these two events, the whole process is leaving a lot more questions than answers. And of course, that is driving a new concern, is driving a new, energy, if you may, by some, is driving, a new level of anger, because at the end of the day, the protests appear to be standing alone, without having any bearing whatsoever with the speech Mr. President gave, and all of that. And so all of that itself is something I believe that many Nigerians right now are still pondering about. But in my own case, I'm still in my situation, for instance, I'm still trying to marry Mr. President's speech with the protests. And I know you're going to come to the president's speech. I can say that the protest standing alone, I am pleased that we have been able to exercise that right. However, has the message actually really gone down? Are we going to expect change, or change is following this exercise that that has cost lives, that has shortchanged people, that have robbed people? Or are we just going to remain the same? But again, there are so many colors to this protest, so many things were exposed that, ab initio, some of us never thought such things, would exist. You understand what I'm saying? In some places, people have argued that government officials, in governors, for instance, hijacked the protests, from the people. At the end of the day, the people would not, in some places, the people could not really holistically, ventilate their anger. Rather, the people that have been, that have benefited from the issues of the protest, some of them are now standing to become the champions of the process itself. You understand? Some governors have come out to look like they are part of the protesters. Meanwhile, they are part of the issues that we have. So all of these things are issues that we are going to take some time to process. The protest is supposed to last for 10 days. By the third day, I already saw people already losing steam. Apparently, there's been a lot of infiltrations everywhere. Government hijacking the process systematically. So at the end of the day, Nigerians could not really, in my opinion, come together to yoke properly together as far as this matter is concerned. Of course, make the message very strong. It seems somehow that we are where we are still. However, the only caveat to that I probably see is that there is a strong attempt to prolong the evil days. You understand? Because right now the anger is going to continue to build. So as long as things will not change, as long as Bola Ahmed Tinubu will keep on apportioning trillions of naira for Hajj without looking at the issues bordering on all Nigerians and coming out to tell us, to sweet talk Nigerians, and people are still hungry. People are, as we speak now, people are going to bed tonight, not having eaten and not even knowing when the next meal is going to come. People, they still recognize the fact that, those in government, as we see today, as we know today, cannot say they are champions of this process. And all of that, Nigerians, even for those that may have taken bribe, because for the first time, we see strangely that people were mobilized to protest against a legitimate protest by Nigerians. So all of this,
I was actually coming to that.
Are part of the whole confusion that are, very strange. I mean, there's a particular one where one of the protesters did not even play by the script. He said, well, we are against protests. We came to say we are against protests. and he was saying that, but they are begging Mr. President. There's so much hunger in the land. You understand? I'm saying, like, they play to this camp. So, what are you doing? You know, and all of that. So all of these are parts of the colors that we need to, you know, take time to process, you know, as it were. But that there's anger in the land. There's hunger in the land. People are tired. You know, people really want things to change. Definitely, it's not a doubt. However, that this was it was a success where it's going to depend on individuals.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comrade for that brief summary and assessment of this ongoing August protest tag and bad governance in Nigeria. I think, in my view, I just want to say this. I was discussing with a friend prior to the presidential election last year,
Yes.
and there was something the friend told me which has come to roast. He said that Bola Ahmed Tinubu stand a chance of winning that election. And his only concern is, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins the election, all form of opposition will be shut down, because that is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is good at doing. And he also said, as the conversation went on, that other political parties will be subsumed, because he's going to play the politics with the other political party and such reduce their level of opposition or otherwise alternative view. But what that friend did not tell me, which has come to play, I didn't know that it was also going to take hold on protest. And you've alluded to that in the course of your discussion. That Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his very pragmatic way of playing his own politics, have also find inroad in having a protest against a protest. This is the first time in my entire life that I would hear that. And to some extent, Comrade, it appears to have worked. And my question to you, Comrade, is that this issue of bad governance and hunger, is it specific to only a few in Nigeria? How come government people, including our president, as alleged, still find people that are available to be used as veritable to counter a process that I think is indeed generic? I would have thought that if this come to them, they will say no, because it's obvious. And like you also alluded, the gentleman that was paid some amount of money, in the course of his talking, begin to talk against that arrangement. Why is this possible, Comrade, in Nigeria? And many people no longer more Nigerian than the others, or they don't feel the impact of Nigeria? Or is it just hunger that is driving people to begin to do things very, very differently? Because you agree with me that this really affected the protest. Like we saw in Abuja, as many people would argue, the process was peaceful, even though the protesters were at the confines of within the vicinity of the Moshood Abiola Stadium. They refused to go inside. They were peaceful during their demonstration. And it was alleged that about 4 buses came with protesters. I've never seen in my life where protesters enter a particular bus to come to a particular place. And as they were coming down, that was where altercation came from. I would also think that the government should have spent all its energy to answering to the issues of the protest, instead of spending huge amount of money to do that. And you agree with me that whosoever have made that arrangement has also profited from the money, because the money that will be collected from the government to do that will be less than what has been given to these protesters. So, Comrade, it appears that the system have found a way of eating its own system. So before we go to the president's speech, I wanted you to speak to this.
You see, bro, I think you know, it's a vicious circle. What the elite, the ruling class have done, they've succeeded in making us so poor, to the extent that when you're able to get the next meal, whoever is providing that meal become your God at that particular point in time. It therefore means that the person can dictate what you do, how you think. You understand what I'm saying? At the expense of your own very self. So what you saw was a group of Nigerians. And I mean, poverty in Nigeria right now is so bad that it's not just about daily bread anymore. Okay? It has now been entrenched into the mind of the people. So even if you are living in surplus materially, there is this dangerous poverty of the mind that is prevalent. Okay, that some people who accept those stipends to act the way they do against the collective will of the people, it may not necessarily be that they cannot afford the next meal or the day after or 2 days after. It has become quite cultural that they can grab 100,000 from government or 5,000 from government, and for them that is some victory, some personal victory. So at the end of the day, what you see that is beclouding the entire environment is that there is a strange, feeling of poverty of the mind, silently entrenched, that the people are wallowing under without necessarily being conscious of this. I don't know why you're. So at the end of the day, for a lot of the people you see clamoring, clapping, running around, following some politicians, okay, they are not necessarily hungry, but the system has so much, built something around everybody's aura that whatever you can grab at that particular moment, even if you don't need it, okay, it's for you, it's a win. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? And that is where the problem really is. Now, for instance, I have seen, okay, this is somebody sent me a video once, and there is one of the Edo State gubernatorial candidates who went to the marketplace to distribute some materials for market women. Now, people that are known market women, everybody who just knew that some materials at least are going to be distributed, they all came rushing and there was stampede. Everybody was grabbing, even some were grabbing too. They don't actually need it. Those things were made for a particular demography, a particular segment of society, a particular market women, maybe artisans. But you find a bus driver, you find a civil servant, you find, some people nearby, they are rushing down to. They don't even know exactly what the content is, but they want to grab first. So there is that mentality already, entrenched silently in the system. And that mentality comes with the weaponization of hunger in the land. So even though I don't need it, let me hold it first. I can decide what to do with it later. Do you understand the picture of what I'm saying now? And by holding it first, you have deprived someone else who actually needs it. You get it? So at the end of the day, for the guys who have accepted bribe to go and do what they did, okay, some of them are not in that bad situation per se. You understand what I'm saying now? But now they want to quickly do that. That is why you could see somebody come out and say, we don't want protest, but we want to tell Mr. President that we are hungry. The hunger in the land is too much. Why did you accept 5,000 naira to go and join protest? Why not join the protesters and really express yourself, properly? Why mortgage your conscience? And so that is exactly what is happening. And that is what some of us are saying, man. Look, a nation, okay, my brother, your generation and I, we are now in our 50s. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Our generation is now looking at 50s, beyond 50s and every other thing. Since we were born till where we are now, we look back at this in Nigeria, where we grew up, where we schooled and every other thing. And the question we ask ourselves is, if we at this stage cannot conquer hunger, just hunger, what are we doing? What have we been doing? The bottom line is that the people are hungry. They cannot even afford the most basic. Gary used to be waiting and what do with Gary. But right now, bro, Gary is over 90,000 naira a bag.
Absolutely. It's not hot cake.
Yeah, it's not hot cake. Olumid was, when Olumid came to Manchester the other day, and we're having this town hall meeting with Nigerians in Manchester, he made the reference to when he was in school. This is something all of us can identify with in our days in the uni. You come to school with rice. If you live in the hostel, you come to school with rice, with beans, with some of those things. Then you come with Gary. You normally don't touch Gary. Gary is usually last fight. When you have exhausted your rice, exhausted your beans, your plantain, and all of those things, and there is nothing more, you not fall back on Gary. If the Gary is not even much, you do soak and travel. You soak it with water. You waka
Travel.
You know,
Yeah.
so you come back again, you see how when Olumid was sharing those things. But right now, people cannot even have that Gary to fall back on. So we are in deep, from bottom of my language, deep shit.
I feel you, my brother. And Komelamte, as if that was not enough, although we saw clear example of leaders, I would say Rivers State governor stands out. He was very diplomatic and a bit shared some similarities, wanting to listen and appearing to be listening and trying to understand what the protesters were doing. And we saw snippet of that as well. We must also commend the governor of Lagos State, who also did similar stuff. But as the protest was going on, people wanted to hear from leaders. And almost every TV house, guests that came to speak on this issue wanted the president to speak. And like I said, a ray of hope came yesterday when it was announced that the president will be addressing the nation, and the nation wanted to hear from the president. And alas, 7 a.m. today, Nigeria time, our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did address the nation. And since his address, a lot in my way, I would say, have gone south instead of north. Many people I've spoken to have come to the conclusion that the president did not hit the right buttons and appear to be a bit lost and out of touch. Let us take an excerpt off today's broadcast and we'll come back to have a real discussion on what the president said.
My fellow Nigerians, I speak to you today with a heavy heart and sense of responsibility, aware of the turmoil and violent protests unleashed in some of our states. Notably, among the protesters were young Nigerians who desired a better and more progressive country where their dreams, hope, and personal aspiration will be fulfilled. I am especially pained by the loss of lives in Borno, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, and other states, the destruction of facilities in some states, and the wanton looting of supermarkets and shops, contrary to the promise of protest organizers that the protest will be peaceful across the country. The destruction of properties set us back as a nation, as scarce resources will be again used to restore them. I commiserate with the families and relations of those who have died in the protest. We must stop further bloodshed, violence, and destruction. As the president of this country, I must ensure public order in line with the constitutional oath to protect the lives and property of every citizen. Our government will not stand idly by and allow a few with a clear political agenda to tear this nation apart. Under the circumstances, I hereby enjoin protesters and the organizers to suspend any further protest and create room for dialogue, which I have always acceded to at the slightest opportunity. Nigeria requires all hands on deck and need us all, regardless of age, party, tribe, religion, or other divides, to work together, reshaping our destiny as a nation. To those who have taken undue advantage of this situation to threaten any section of this country, be warned. The law will catch up with you. There is no place for ethnic bigotry or such threats in the Nigeria we seek to build. Our democracy Progressives, when the constitutional right of every Nigerian are respected and protected, our law enforcement agencies should continue to ensure full protection of life and properties of innocent citizens in a responsible manner. My vision for our country is one of a just and prosperous nation where each person may enjoy the peace, freedom, and
I think we should summarize.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comrade Lampton. Wow. Just before I pass the baton to you to make some comment on the speech, I have a few positive, which I consider to be positive, following the announcement or the broadcast by the President of Nigeria today. I think for the first time, we've seen the play of the new national anthem. That was good. I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is looking very good and fit. He stood up for the over 22 minutes to read that speech, unlike the conventional way where they usually where they have to sit down. So I think that's good, just to show a bit of strength. And I think he's looking very fit and looking very good. The other positive was just the commiseration with the families of those that have died in the course of this protest. Apart from those three things I've mentioned, I am struggling to find positive from the speech. I think, in my view, that the speech did not meet the yearnings of our protesters and indeed the yearnings of the country. I think the speech was given as if Nigeria was in good stead. It's just a presidential speech. I think the speech did not even answer to the many questions or the situation currently in our country. But Comrade, these are my immediate thoughts. Maybe we're going to break it down, but let us hear from you. And may I also encourage our viewers at this point to pick up the phone and ring in. Comrade, you heard your president address the nation today, just a few hours ago. What are your immediate reactions? I haven't heard mine.
Unfortunately, I am not as enthusiastic as yourself. And the things you highlighted as positives, without due respect, they are nonsense. They have no bearing with the issues. They have no bearing with the issues Nigerians are passing through. As a matter of fact, they probably shouldn't even sing the new national anthem. He probably shouldn't look fit. He probably doesn't need to do any of those things that you have acknowledged, but let there be food on the table of the average Nigerian. You understand what I'm saying? Probably that's going to do it a lot better for all of us. I think, my immediate take, I listened to the speech, I read the manuscript. Each time I think I read the manuscript like on twice. And for every paragraph I picked to read through, I felt insulted each time. I saw a man giving a speech, apparently a man who is out of touch, who has no idea. He probably doesn't even know there was protests. Maybe somebody just told him in his dream that Nigerians are protesting and he just woke up to talk about something. It felt like it was a speech, a New Year speech, just to encourage Nigerians that, his government is on the right path. He didn't look at the issues. Rather, the only semblance of looking at the issues was to threaten opposition, to state that his enemies are the ones trying to, derail the country, and to warn his political, rivals or the opposition and all of that, without necessarily looking at what this country is facing. This country is faced with serious insecurity. I mean, we're talking of real insecurity that is even helping to occasion and drive this hunger, badly. People can go to their farms. I didn't hear anybody, and the president say, now, on the issue of Boko Haram and the Marudas and the Fulani herdsmen, this is what we have done, or this is what we are doing that will yield results. on the issue of high cost of living. This is what we are doing. This is what we have done. These are the issues. Now, this is a government just in the last couple of months or less announced that they are, they are sponsoring some human beings in the name of pilgrimage, with over 90 billion naira. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? In this same condition that we are in, this is a man who just assumed office, and all the concentrated effort is to buy themselves some, additional jets, a presidential plane, buy themselves, build new houses, use billions to renovate houses, apportion billions to the, non-existent, recognized, constitutionally recognized office of the First Lady, and spend the Nigerian money recklessly. And the man has kept on coming for supplementary budget again and again and again. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? They've given, bulletproof vehicles to the National Assembly members and all of that. And that Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians can't eat. Now, just to look at some of these annoying figures. This lady, is it Adiola? She read out some of these figures, particularly bordering on what the National Assembly is taking home. In this same country where people are so hungry, where workers are fighting for a minimum wage, you understand what I'm saying? And they are slashing it to 70,000, less than less than how much is it in pounds? 70,000 naira. That's less than 30 pounds. That's what it's not federal government minimum wage, and they are celebrating themselves. But meanwhile, this is what this lady said, and this one she said, she read out, has actually even been upgraded. This one is just old information because they've received a lot more than she. But let's listen to the essay. These are the issues that Nigerians are talking about. Let's take a listen.
To be a lawmaker in Nigeria, by the way, all you need is secondary school certificate. Yet, your basic salary is 2.5 million naira per month. Furniture allowance is 7.4 million per month. Who changes furniture every month? Newspaper allowance. Nobody is reading newspaper, by the way. But they still get 1.2 million naira per month to buy newspaper. And then they have wardrobe allowance, 621,000 every month. Recess allowance is 248,000 every month. It is different from leave allowance. What does that even mean? Another 248,000 per month. On top of that, they have accommodation allowance, 4.9 million every month. Is any one of them paying rent, sending me rent? Yet they are getting 4.9 million for accommodation every month. They have utilities allowance, 828,000 every month. Entertainment, 828,000 every month. And we're also paying for their personal assistant to 621,000 every month. And then they get vehicle maintenance allowance, 1.8 million. By the way, they also get 9.9 million every month to buy new vehicle. If they are buying new vehicles every month, should we also be paying another 1.1 million to maintain their vehicle? New vehicle. By the way, they are also getting severance gratuity, 1.8 million. And as if they have not insulted our intelligence enough, these lawmakers are also getting hardship allowance, 1.2 million naira every month. What hardship? What hardship are they facing? Now, despite all that ridiculous amount, all that ridiculous allowances, the money that they are given, which they are supposed to use to develop their constituencies, they are also pocketing. Many of them are also pocketing it. This year, by the way, they increased their constituency allowance. The senators increased their own from 200 million naira a year to, some of them are now getting 400 million, some are getting 500 million. They call them senior senators. And many of them are still pocketing this money that is meant for the development of their constituencies. So as if their own personal allowances are not enough. How can you not see that this is evil? Nigerians, by the way, you need to stop praying against those old women in your village, because these government officials are the real witches and wizards. And we've not talked about all the allowances that the ministers are are getting, the governors are getting, the president, the vice president. We just found out that the president, the vice president, and the first lady have spent 8.6 billion, not million, billion naira just on traveling, local and foreign travels between January and March of this year. Alhaji Tinubu, is this what you had in mind when you said Emilo come? Also, we found out that 30 governors in Nigeria have spent 968 billion, again not million, billion, on refreshment in the first quarter of this year alone. The people that put them in office are getting paid 30,000 naira a month, and they're okay with that. Oh yeah, okay, where is my...
Wow.
Now this is just what's information available to the public. Now you can imagine what is happening that the public is not even aware of. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So the rot in the system is so grave, is dangerously grave. This rot is sending somebody to his grave every 10 minutes. This rot that you see in the system is sending in Nigeria to his grave every 10 minutes because people are dying because they are unable to access medical facilities. People are dying because they cannot travel on Nigerian roads by accidents. People are dying just because they went to, eke out a living in their farms. They are being attacked. People are dying because there's so much level of insecurity in the land. Every 10 minutes, one Nigeria is dying because of the bad policies of government, because of corruption in government. And at the end of the day, people just came out to say, man, we want to air out our anger, to say, man, look, enough is enough. But rather, the government hijacked the process. Now, where they could not hijack the process, they started using guns to intimidate the people, killed some. And all the president could say is a speech like this. My brother, I probably think, with all due respect, okay, the Nigerian people may not have channeled their anger properly. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Until such a point where the people in the political office holders, that people can say, you guys have compressed our collective destinies, you guys have robbed us, until Nigerians begin to take the battle to their doorsteps. If, today now, people are giving different figures to say, 20 people, died in the process, 40 people died and all of that. Supposing, okay, the people that are mentioned now, they are all not protesters. Supposing they say, XYZ protesters died. But so XYZ number of elected lawmakers, presidential aides, ministers, and all of that, they are part of the people that have, passed because of, this anger issue occasioned by hunger in the land. Probably people will sit up. After all, Akpabio, the state president, told the world that, look, you guys are going to protest too. While you are protesting, we will be eating. Which means that they don't care. They never did. And from the president's speech, they never will. They are so out of touch. For them, that Nigerians are perpetually kept where they are, okay, favors them more. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Because if Nigerians are able to get elevated to the average class a bit, nobody will care about them. Nobody will be interested in what they do. You understand? Nobody will come and bow before anybody. But they want that whenever they are coming to their villages, to their neighborhoods, people are lying down, babake, and all of that. So they want to keep that culture going. And that's what this is about. So, and for them to keep that culture going, they must make sure they impoverish the people as much as possible. I mean, I live in the UK. My MP from my own constituency here, her house is just a few blocks away from mine. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Nobody is going to, with a jump for supermarkets sometimes. She takes train to Westminster, every morning. Public train, not the convoy. And I never see that kind of car you go see with Nigerian senators before. I never see her. She lives in a house like mine. The kind of car when I see a boyfriend they drive, my car better pass her. That's an MP. in this land, equivalent of a senator in Nigeria. Her salary is in the public domain day. I know her. You understand the point of what I'm saying now? And at the end of the day, okay, when the election is coming, the best that her team can do is to just give out flyer. It's not even her team; it's a political party that will just give out the flyer. If you are interested, we vote for them. If we are not, nobody come tell you say, man, take a bag of rice or take a bag of beans, ensure you vote for me. No, people are looking at your programs and the issues are being discussed. How did you fare the last 4 years that you were given? Why is this and that not in place? So at the end of the day, people can justifiably decide where to go because they know they feed under anybody. Nobody's giving them stipends to come and carry placards or do anything like that. A few years ago, when we did the last protest, this what's it called? The other last protest we had, that equally did not end.
NSAS.
The NSAS protest. I had the NSAS protest organized here, and we sent our own what's it called communique, our resolve. We sent it to the MP, to the British Parliament. And they sat on the letter that came from our constituency. They discussed it and sent me I still have that, they call it, there's a document they sent back as part of their response to the whole this thing. Well, all we asked for was that we want the British government to influence Nigeria to ensure that, the what's it called, police brutality is enough and that particular institution is cut off and disbanded. You understand the picture of what I'm saying and all of that. But is there any Nigerian right now that can put up a document, either by way of groups or this, and say they are sending it through their own senator, you understand, or their own House of Rep member to be discussed in the National Assembly? So, my brother, we fundamentally have a system that is oppressive, a system that is dangerous to human health, a system that is taking away the human rights of the Nigerian people, and the president, the office of the president, most of all, is the one that is, is the one who now engenders that oppression. And it is very sad. Nothing to take away from the speech of Mr. President. His government, nothing to take away from them. And it is honestly sad. What they have succeeded in doing, for me, is postponing the Igbo Day. And when that day comes, they may not be able to bribe people anymore to protest against protesters.
I agree with you. Why one would say may that day come soon, but we don't know when it's going to come, and we don't want the suffering of Nigerians to continue. Komilante, I agree with you what you said. I was only trying to find out some positive just to let our viewers know, because I think in my view that there was nothing so positive in that speech. But Komilante, even if we say there wasn't any positive there's a lot of things that were unspoken that I think we should unpack as we discuss today's issue. Being the fault, leave it or take it, like it or not like it, I think the president's reaction today and that speech will have an impact on the protest going forward. I just want to say this. One Dr. Blessing has put on our chat. I don't know how true it is. We can't independently verify that. Maybe in the course of time we would know. He said the speech is different from the movement of his mouth. Talking of the president now. That is not the president talking. But if you listen to the speech, you may want to conclude like like Komilante has drawn an assertion. It appears that the president is not aware, because one would say that the speech has no correlation whatsoever, or it appears not to have a correlation whatsoever with the 4 days, or let's say 3 days of massive protests across states in Nigeria, where there have even been people laying their life for the soul and existence of Nigeria, as they come out to let the government know that hunger is in the land and they want them to end bad governance. Komilante, still on the issue of this presidential speech, while we wait for people to ring in, I am also surprised, and you often say that something about silence and not speaking when you are supposed to speak. What would they ask of you in future, i.e., the children and grandchildren. Komilante, are you surprised? Are you also taken aback? Are you shocked, just like me, to say that hours after the speech of the president, I have not seen so many.
You have a call. Do you want to
Okay,
take the call?
let's take the call, please.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Comrade.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, my name is Adires from Paris.
Go ahead, Adires. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. Thank you very much. Honestly, I want to thank you guys for this show for today. See, it is appalling to have such a speech from a president of over 210 million people. It's so shameful, honestly. That was a pre-recorded speech. 5 hours to that speech, or more election, whatever posted that speech.
The scripts.
It's everywhere. It's so shameful. It's so shameful, honestly. So shameful, bro. So shameful. Thank you very much. I don't really have much to say about that anyway.
Yeah, I must thank Komilante. I must thank Daddy Rest because he's bringing another part of it. Because really, when I woke up today about 6:30, I saw that speech and I read it. And I went on Arise trying to correlate the speech. And to be frank, that speech matched exactly what the president said. So it might be correct from Daddy Rex. Thank you for allowing our viewers know that. So Komilante, just before Daddy Rex rang in, I was trying to say that I have not seen reactions from Nigerians. At least one would expect, when I mean Nigerians now, they are high-class Nigerians who are politically sagacious, who are in high places. They haven't reacted to it. And just before we came on air, I just got a message to say that Professor Wole Soyinka has reacted to the speech and condemned it. But when I tried to open the page, it did not open. So I don't think that is correct. But Komilante, are you worried that more than 7 hours after the speech by the president, we still haven't gotten reactions from Nigeria? Is this docility across all spheres? Are you not worried?
You know, we used to have there's this musician in Benin, you know, it's late. His name is Ohe. I used to, I like his music. There's this particular track of his. It says, what that means is if you travel or you get along with somebody you hitherto believe is a nice person, and you have some expectations of that particular person, and you are, that person is your friend, and you guys are doing things together. By the time you get to see the unexpected from that person, sometimes you are dazed that you cannot even react. All you could do is, oh my God, that is oh, you only exclaim. I think that the people you want to hear from, they are right now exclaiming. They are right now short of words. They are right now probably, unable to confront what they are hearing from the man they call president. And many of them were those who actually beat the drum of Emilio Con. Many of them were those who packaged him to ensure that they took him off engagement with Nigerians. Many of them were the ones who ensured that they rigged the election for him. Many of them are the ones who ensure that, who campaigned to say that it is the turn of the Yorubas. When Jonathan was there, they were champions of protests. The Tunde Bakaris, the Wole Soyinkas, what's it called?
Pastor Adeboye.
Pastor Adeboye. You understand what I'm saying now? Today, Oyedekpos, today, Nigeria is almost 100 times worse than when Jonathan was in office. And yet, the Oyedekpos, the Tunde Bakaris, the Wole Soyinkas, all of these human beings, okay, they are all now silent. They've kept mum. And as a matter of fact, the Benin man says, their mouth is now closed. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So I think that these guys right now, they are all reeling in their own shame. That not even a primary school child, given the responsibility to preside over the affairs of people, would even respond in this manner. On the issue of whether the speech was leaked, hours before the president, the broadcast was made, I don't really have issues with that. Because, presidents do have speech writers, okay? But what the speech writers put, and write as part of the speech of Mr. President, they are the things that the president has given assent to say, okay, let this be there, let this be there. The speech writer will only just convey the message of Mr. President. So if Mr. President wants to give a message at 5 and the thing was leaked at 4, but the message is addressing the issue, you understand what I'm saying now, under discourse. It's addressing the major issue. My brother, it wouldn't matter whether the speech was leaked a day or two before. Whether if the thing wasn't leaked at all, the same way we are praising that is the same way we are praising, because this was a useless speech. This was a speech that had no bearing with the issues at stake. This was a speech that was grossly out of touch with the reality of the process. This was a speech that was, self-aggrandizing. This was a speech that was very repulsive. Honestly, this is not a speech where we say, man, I want to forget in a hurry that this man actually did this. But again, we are reaping what we have, what we came together to sow for ourselves. On the 25th of was it April? It was, or March?
February.
Of February 2023. That is what we are reaping. And the funny thing is that we are going to reap it more. Unfortunately, to try to correct it, it may cost a few more lives. Maybe.
Wow. Komelamte, you are indeed very pensive. Absolutely, the conscience of Nigeria appear to be in tatters. Sometimes when a country need hope, they run to their leaders. It's just like a father who has gone on a long journey, coming home with nothing, and the children run to him, and they have nothing. Daddy, you didn't bring anything. I thought this would have been a moment for our dear president to take us to another level and react. But Komelante, I must also say, bewildered as it may, I think we saw this coming. Because in the course of this protest, almost everybody that has spoken on behalf of the government have been very defensive, and they appear not to be interested. And these are the people that give advice to Mr. President. So if you've been following all the government spokesmen and people that have come from the government to probably Arise channels and other media houses, they've been confrontational and not trying to see reason. Perhaps, maybe Nigeria now has a clear-cut 2 layers where some people don't know what is happening and some are suffering what is happening. I think this speech will be discussed again and again and again. And it may well go down as one of the worst speech ever given by a president of Nigeria. And also, I would say, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because even in his days as governor of Lagos State, his speech were quite direct, quite telling, quite hopeful, and quite rich. But I would say today's one was not rich. But Comrade Lamte, we've dwelled enough on this speech. It's 58 minutes on the clock. Now, let us go back to the hunger and protesters. What do you think protesters should do now? What do you think Nigerian state should do now? In fact, on a very simple term, what is the way forward after this speech? In the course of you talking earlier on and in my intro, I did also say that it looks like the protest, initially slated for 10 days, is beginning to lose steam. Would it be that with the speech of President today, you will say the oxygen has gone out? What is the way forward? And what will be your advice, first to the protesters and to the Nigerian state?
No, I am not. I mean, on the issue of the protest gathering momentum, I am not very enthusiastic. I think that the protest has been, hugely infiltrated by government. Unfortunately, while we are crying that we are hungry, the government is spending billions to ensure that Nigerians don't protest. I think what I expect is that whatever they have pumped into people now, to quell protest, to make the protest lose steam, the people are probably just going to go, those that have been privileged and fortunate enough to get something from them, and finish the 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 they were given. After that, they will be back to reality. I think the reality will be that in another 1 or 2 months, things will not change. Things will probably be worse than it is now.
Or let's be hopeful. Or let's be hopeful if things don't change.
No, bro, look, man. This is the hand. There's a handwriting on the wall. I'm not. I'm not a doomsday prophet. My brother, things can only change if we put the mechanisms in place. If we are supposed to be committing money, okay, to minimum wage, for instance, we're supposed to be committing money to agriculture. You understand? Committing money to health and every other thing, but rather we leave those things and we are committing money to what's it called, a pilgrimage. And we are putting money in the pockets of National Assembly members, and we are seeing how the president is enriching himself more and more and more, his cronies and his families, at the expense of Nigerians. What are you expecting? My brother, we cannot do things the same old way and expect that some changes just will come from the blues. It's not coming. We don't see it happening. We don't see it. So it is very safe to say that the situation of this country, are you aware that the Naira has continued to go on a downward spiral?
It's on a yo-yo.
Continue to tumble, and so long as Nigeria continues to tumble, you know what I'm saying now? High cost of living is going to take a different dimension. You understand? So people are not go to the market and buy 4 seeds of tomatoes for 2,500 naira, 3,000 naira.
So, Comrade Lamptey, what is the way forward?
I think that the anger that has built, okay, will continue to build, okay. And I probably think that we are going to get to a point where the state of our nation will be likened to that of Kenya in recent months. You know, something, because at the end of the day, the people are going to now understand more vividly that their anger cannot be taken out on the store owners. You understand what I'm saying now? Akpabio and the National Assembly members, they live in Nigeria. Okay? They have their houses, whether highly protected or whatever it is, in this same Nigeria. And Nigerians know where those houses are. Mr. President's lodge and has everything, is still in Nigeria. It's not out of this country. So I think that at some point, Nigerians will learn where to take their anger to. You understand what I'm saying now? And all of that. Because, my brother, we have some countries in this world where corruption is death penalty. Corruption, that you are convicted of corruption, is death penalty, and everybody is, trying to be on the right path. I think that I listened to one of the protests in the north. People were calling the military to come and take over power. I thought that's a huge slap. That speaks to the monumental failure we have experienced with democracy. We have experienced so much failure of democracy that we have not forgotten so soon, the danger of the military era that we equally had. Military is not an alternative. You understand what I'm saying now? But right now, people believe that's a better alternative than what we have right now, by way of a democracy or civil rule. So something will be done drastically, but I do not expect that drastic change to come from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He does not have the capacity, neither does he have the will, even if he would have the capacity. This guy came with a mindset, and that mindset.
Are you suggesting that we are going to go through this for the next 3 years?
I think you should actually be praying that it should last the next 3 years alone. This man will contest the next election and he will still win. Not because Nigerians will vote for him, but because the same cronies that are not talking now, that you were asking about just now, why are they not speaking? They are the ones who, because they are benefiting from this nonsense. And this man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is on record to know how to spread the word around those that will protect him. And so we probably see that already. So these same people, they control INEC, they control all of these institutions. So at the end of the day, it's just like what is happening in Venezuela. We have the elections, there will be a few misgivings here and there. The result will be announced, just like they did, the 26th of on the 26th or the 27th of February 2023. And like play, he sat there as president. That is exactly going to repeat itself again. Unless and until people don't wait for the next 3 years to take affirmative action. But right now, the people of Nigeria must understand that power truly belongs to them, not to these marauders, not to these thieves, not to these guys who don't care about the people of Nigeria. In part of the speech, I did hear him talk about the Constitution, empowers him to protect lives and property. And I was asking myself, Constitution empower you to protect lives and property when protest is ongoing. But the Constitution don't empower you, or you don't recognize the same power given to you by the Constitution to ensure that our farmland, they are free from herdsmen, terrorist herdsmen. You don't assert your powers in all those directions. The Constitution, you don't recognize that the Constitution equally asks you to ensure that Nigeria has an environment fit for purpose for Nigerians to thrive and earn a living. Come on, must it be at your own interests alone? And that is what we have seen. And that is what we will continue to see unless and until even those that they are bribing to protest against protesters, we all come together to understand that the common enemy we have are those that we have elected to govern us today. Those people, they are standing on the other side. And I say this, I make bold to say this because of the figures we see. And I have said in my own advocacy that unless and until we come to that point where we say, if you are an elected officer in this country, okay, your salary and your emolument should be paid in line with what civil servants earn. If you're going to be paid on grade level 17, level 18 as it were, let it be that paid. There is no reason why you, okay, because you contested an election, should earn more than a civil servant that sustains the economy of this of the nation. We need to get to that level and to de-emphasize, what goes into the pockets of political office holders. If we don't get them, my brother, they make the laws, they execute the laws, they do everything about the laws. So at the end of the day, the rest of us, and these people are less than 1% of the population. So you see that what we see already is a pyramid standing on its head. It's a keg of gunpowder. They may suppress it now, okay, but it is waiting to explode at some point. And when it does,
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. You haven't answered one part of my question, but I'm very conscious of time. I know that you're going to go back to that in subsequent topic that we are going to talk about. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, it's been your darling program. I will be talking about the August protests and the end bad governance in Nigeria and the speech of our president earlier today and the effect of that speech on Project Nigeria. It's just about a little over an hour on the program, but I'm conscious of time. I'm still talking on the issue of the protest. I want to go straight to Edo State. Comilante, our dear Edo State appears not to be different from the issues we are having in Nigeria. And the Edolites came out in their massive numbers to air their view. And the first 3 days of the protest has indeed witnessed so many stuff. Some people have also accused the sitting governor Godwin Obaseki, of hijacking the protest and using the protest as a way of campaign materials or to push himself forward. But there was a twist in the second and third day. And I recall that in 2021 or 2020, just shortly after the COVID period where there was a total lockdown, there was the issue of palliative. And I remember the Comrade Show came out very quickly when it was reported that a particular warehouse has been invaded and bag of rice kept for palliative for indigenes of Edo State have been kept away from government, and some people got wind of it. The government kept it, and some people got wind of it, and they went to bust that place. I remember you had a quick interview, and then you called on one of the aides of the governor, Crusto Saye, who spoke to that. But it appears the lessons has not been learned. And a couple of years after that, I think day 2 or day 3, it was alleged, and the videos are everywhere, that bag of rice again in our dear Edo State have been carted away, and protesters busted the house, and it was free for all for people to begin to have harvest of rice. I am surprised, I am confused, I am semi-astonished, and I am disdained as well that this is happening again. Although Edo State government have come out to react to it, but in my view, I think their reaction, their suggestion, and their comment is not different from the speech of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this impasse. Comrade Lamte, what's happening to your dear Edo State? What is rice? What is palliative? And who is really looking after Edolite in all this?
Well, just to put things in perspective, I mean, some videos have been flying around. I mean, a series of videos, and a lot of damage control too is already being done by the government of Governor Obaseki and all of that. But it was really astonishing. This was the first video that came out.
Our raso, see our raso government give us a call head though, we don't locate her. Yeah, now Urora, see rest everywhere. See rest, tell our friends, no come carry rest. See rest for Urora, see rest. See Edo State rest they give us, see they go hide down, see Edo State rest they go hide down. Our rest, see our rest, so see government, see our bad government, see our rest they dash us. They go hide down, see our rest, they go hide down. See our rest, they go hide down. Everybody will not carry rest. See Edo State rest not carry. See rest.
See the rest when they say, "Me Obaseki share, Obaseki no share am, he no share am."
To put the government, to share for the people, orphanage home, to share for the people. Once I refuse to share the rice, because of the process of today, the boys, the youth move and let protest to the where they keep the rice, and they're now able to set the rice. Look at the rice, the house of Obaseki to share, Obaseki to share the rice. So what is happening in this state? What is happening in this state?
You know, when we saw this, honestly, I was stunned. I wanted to do a video on it, but I just wanted to get more information. But hours after, the government released a statement, and I put it out here. I'm probably going to read it aloud. The Ministry of Communication and Orientation, government special announcement. The Edo State government has received information along about the looting of bags of rice from unidentified truck and private residents in parts of Benin City in the wake of end bag governance protest. The video making the round are said to have emanated from Urora, Axis of Obahi, Benin City, and government does not have a warehouse in that location. The government supports the vulnerable with relief materials through religious organizations, particularly the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, and the Edo State Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Board. The statement went further to say that the state government does not keep any relief material by itself, but reaches out to the people through these channels. We will not put this tactic past the All Progressive Congress, which is spreading malicious content to score political points. This condemnable action is intended to cause chaos in the state, and the APC is discouraged from such ignoble practice. The public is enjoined to disregard the malicious message, and these people are trying to send with the video. We want to once again urge protesters not to attack or destroy the property of others as they go about their demonstration in a peaceful and orderly manner. This is Chris Neihai, Honorable Commissioner. Of course, that is speaking on behalf of Edo State government. Now, having established all that, I find something here I find some things are quite curious for me. Now, the reason why they are curious is this. First and foremost, I mean, you and I live here. We follow the news very closely. I am not sure we have any news, or we have had any news at any time, that the Edo State government was going to be sharing palliative to Edo State people. Now, I didn't hear, but if such a news was available, it probably was not sufficiently available. That's one. The second aspect was that upon getting all of this information, I've tried to ask around. Some people I know that are people who are deserving of palliative in Edo State. Some people that, you know, they benefit from the support we spread around a bit, you know, as our strength can carry. You know, were you guys ever given palliative? Okay. And the report that has come is that there is not even a single person, you know, across Edo South. Like this, we have a lot of people we are supporting in Oredo, in Igor, most especially. You understand what I'm saying? And none of them seem to even say they are aware of anything like that. That is one. You know, shortly after all of these, you know, damage control measures, some human being quality came out in a video to say it's a pastor, to one truck, this one, and later we saw another footage, and they tried to counter, and so there's been, you know, a lot of, you know, blame games. And I think that one thing that has become very consistent with the government of Obaseki is, and I've questioned this, Governor Obaseki, with all due respect to him, never seemed to accept any error or any mistakes on his own part. And even the statement they have put out, I see a deliberate, you know, I can pull out deliberate act of failure on the part of government. Let's assume that what government has said is true. Okay? Now, you say if there are palliative available for Edo State public, for instance, you are a government, and you are telling us that the way you do this is to give it to churches to distribute to their members, and to Muslims to distribute to their members. We have a number of people in Edo State downtrodden who neither go to church nor go to mosque. So who represent their interests? I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm aware there are a number of churches who are not even connected to even the CAN or any of these organizations or PFN. They are just on their own in small groups and every other thing. I think it is failure on the part of government to say that something made for the Edo State public is channeled through some associations, particularly on top of the fact that from, you know, happenings over the years, even these associations cannot be trusted. Even these people are proven, pastors with all due respect, imams and Muslims and all of that, they are proven to be the most corrupt set of people in Nigeria. People that cannot be trusted. People who are always self-serving. Now, even if you are putting this thing through them, is it not? Now, what mechanism have you put in place to ensure that the things that you are transferring through these people to the people, that is actually getting to the people? Now, you know, this again comes back to the very base of the matter. You know, the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and every other thing shall be added unto you. When Obaseki became the governor of Edo State, one of the things that some of us suggested was this. I said, there is a need as a governor to sit down
and have data.
Yeah, and have an exact idea, okay, approximately, how many people do we have in Edo State? And inside these people we have in Edo State, how many of them are farmers? How many of them are market women? And what are they trading on? How many of them are civil servants? How many of them are this and that and that and that? You can only get that by having your own state database. Even though we know we have the NIN, which is not serving any, you know, purpose of governance right now as we speak, I thought that looking at the failure of NIN to be, you know, fully applied to help the plight of Nigerians, I had expected that my own Edo State, okay, would have taken the pains, you understand what I'm saying now, to set up that arm that we get every Edo State person captured. So that as government is sat, we have 10 trailer loads of rice. okay, government can easily just see that based on data that, okay, in this territorial loss of rights, we have XYZ number of people that we can consider as downtrodden in Edo North, in Edo Central, in Edo South. We have their addresses, if not all, we have their telephone numbers. Bro, in this country that we live, this, I mean, a couple of months back, we were talking about, a cost of living, that was the discourse, cost of living, and government intended to support people, you understand what I'm saying, with some money, you understand, to aid them in, cost of living expenses and every other thing. My brother, nobody wants to queue anywhere. But for people, they categorize as people that fit into that arrangement, people just got the alert. I think it was for a period of about 6 months. Some 300 pounds were just coming like that every month. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Some people got that alert. A lot of people got it. Why? Because government has been able to assess everybody and know the class everybody belongs to. Do you understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Just to support people. Not everybody will get it. I mean, time was when I came into this country newly, I was receiving some benefits. Do you understand, my brother? Pharmacists. Do you know that since last year, the government have written me to say that the time I was receiving the benefits, they have now reviewed and found out that I'm not to return 12,000 pounds.
Yes, absolutely.
Back to government. And I have discussed my payment plan. Now they have said that what you earn, okay, is too much. So the time we pay you in the beginning, it was okay. But after a couple of years, you started earning beyond the threshold. We never to be paying you for some number of years. And now you have to return 12,000 pounds. And I'm paying back already. All benefits cut because I don't belong to the class of benefits anymore. That's exactly what happens in a system where they have your data. They know what you earn. They know everything about you. And it is not rocket science. I have said this to Olumid. It's a major consideration that Olumid wants to look into. So that Olumid has said, we must know how many people we have in Edo State, where Edo State indigenes and their residents, where each person belongs, even Edo State in diaspora. You know, they want to capture everybody and have a clear database, even give them their own state numbers, like social security number, even if they don't print card, but when you mention your name and every other thing, you have the data. You have if you do crime, it go there against your data. You understand what I'm saying, and all of that. All of this will help government to manage. Now, for you to say you give trailer loads of rice to a church in the name of PFN, these people have never at any time in the history of the PFN, okay, been left out of anything called corruption. They've always been accused and accused and accused. I remember when Olumid was their president, it was always a counter accusation. As a matter of fact, there was a time they almost overthrew him and every other thing. Despicable things that you will not believe will happen, in where you call church, a church institution. But again, we have seen over the years that the church is one of the most corrupt institutions that we have in Nigeria. The mosque is one of the most corrupt institutions we have in Nigeria. And yet, you are telling us that you just give it to them to distribute to their members without telling us how you monitor how the distribution was made. So I think that is failure on the part of government, if it were true. Now, all the other things that we're now doing, it is APC, opposition, it is this, we are not buying that. The minimum says, a rhyme of win and allow. If wood not get hole, ant not go enter around.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's all part of the humongous failure of governance on the part of Governor Obaseki, because we cannot afford to have you tell us that you are spending $1 billion monthly, okay, to alleviate the suffering of the people, and yet the people are suffering. And
the people are not aware.
And the people are not aware. You know, in one of my broadcasts, I did ask. I said, now people are protesting because of what the federal government, policy and programs. The governor came out to push the blame on the federal government. He didn't take any blame. And the question I'm asking is, if a bag of garri is 90,000, what commodity in the market, name one, which food item is in the market today that is ₦1 less expensive because of the policy of Governor Obaseki? Which one? that we say that, oh, this bag of rice elsewhere, it is selling for 20,000, but because of Obaseki's intervention in the last 8 years, Edo State is selling for 5,000. That is when I will sit down and say, yes, I have a working governor. Don't tell us that it is the federal government policies. And meanwhile, this same Tinubu, a few months ago, told us, go and hold your governors accountable. You receive, let's forget about Tinubu right now, his failure. All the billions that you have been receiving, nearly 1 billion every month for security vote, and yet our farmers in Benin still cannot go to their farms. And you tell them you are spending 1 billion monthly to give stipends to people. The people are not aware, neither are they getting it. And we see a situation like this, you want to deflect it, so it is APC. We know that APC has failed, woefully. But the foundation of APC failure in Edo State and Nigeria was laid by PDP. PDP was in government of this Nigeria, okay? They laid very strong foundation for corruption and failure. And APC came and now crystallized it, now perfected on it. And they are still building on it. So at the end of the day, we have two sides of the same coin. Very bad coin at that. So I don't think that there is anything that Obaseki is going to tell us, because the only time I will listen and I will be convinced is that I should wake up now that Gary is averaging 90,000 per bag. I should wake up tomorrow and say, oh, Gary is now 40,000 because of Obaseki intervened, because of Obaseki's agricultural policy. That is when we will say, yes, we have a governor. You're not just a governor who is lying behind or on the backs of whoever is president, and every little thing you want to push the blame to Mr. President. We know the president is 40, their government is 40. It's a fiasco. But because you are governor, what has improved in your own state by way of food? This is the same state where you have erected signboard to say, bear with us, this is a federal road. And yet, 90% of the people who plan that road are people from Edo State. You cannot touch it because it's a federal road. The ones you have attached to us that you touched last year, 2 years ago, they have gone back today. So at the end of the day, my brother, if the impact of government policies cannot be felt directly by the people, I mean, you see them now, when they are campaigning, they will put computer, okay? They will be analyzing data, they'll be giving us all those things that make them technocrats. They will be saying this, they will be very colorful analysis and every other thing. People will be hoodwinked, but go to the market. First seed of tomatoes is 2,500 to 3,000 naira. First seeds. But we have no information that instead of 3,000 to 2,500 to 3,000 for first seed of tomatoes, that we have this set of tomatoes in the market that is selling for 200 naira because of Obaseki's intervention. That is when we want to say, yes, our governor is trying. But if that is not there, and you come, you want to tell, I mean, in his speech, he told us that he has increased salary to 70,000, and I applaud him for that. I mean, that's very, very great. I love that, increase salary to 70,000 naira. Now, the question I'm asking is this. How many civil servants do we have in Edo State, a state that is approximately about 6 million population right now? Now, some of us doubt if we have more than 20,000 civil servants in the population.
I don't know. I don't think it's up to that.
No. You don't reach 10,000. I believe they even reach 10,000 in a population of nearly 6 million. And you probably say you have increased the salaries of about maybe 10,000 people, or a little more, or a little less, civil servants. How about the bricklayer, the artisans? Did their own wage increase?
They were not captured.
They were not captured in the matter. In the UK here, when they say they increase minimum wage, they're not talking about civil servants. It is general. You know, stop saying now. If minimum wage is now £10, okay, that is what every private employer of labor will pay. It will go round. So when you say you have increased 70,000 and you are so proud and you make all the noise about it, I applaud you. I really, really think that's a good starting point. But what is the replicate for the rest of the society. So
Comrade Lamte, yeah, Comrade Lamte, I need to bring you back. I just want to ask, and I want you to be very honest. Because of the way our country is, when we are saying these things, people will begin to accuse you. I think Juan Agidigbi is accusing you of not getting money from the government, but I don't understand. I think we've addressed this issue over and over again, so forget about it. The question I want to ask you, Comrade Lamte, the question I want to ask you, what do you honestly think is the reason why Edo State government, led by Governor Godwin Obaseki, was keeping this rice, if it's true? Don't you think Godwin Obaseki has got enough rice to feed himself? What is the reason in your mind?
Let me give you an analysis.
And you think that the rice is being kept?
We have a living example. Now you see, the governor and his cronies will be relevant only when Edo State people are poorer. Now, they swim in that environment where people come to worship them. They love it. Last year, during Christmas, the SSG of Edo State, Ogie, called his neighbors, the people in his own area, okay, probably a few more people. In his house, they were giving out, what's it called, some kg of rice and even chicken.
And they call it Christmas giveaway.
Yeah, they were doing that Christmas giveaway. You understand? And they were receiving applause from everywhere. They were being praised to high heavens. Okay. Now, when you look at this particular palliative right now, this rice palliative, people have even accused them. I cannot independently verify that they were programming it to use it to further hoodoo the people for the election that's coming on the 21st of September. Okay, they will come and distribute it and make it look like. And that has been a pattern with Governor Obaseki. Even though I cannot verify this, but this is what Obaseki does. Obaseki has a way of, that's why I said he runs I mean, he's very intelligent. Don't take that away from him, but he runs a government of optics. You understand what I'm saying now? Everything that he does, okay, is geared towards a purpose that would serve his own personal interests, most of all. Everything, every policy of his government. You understand what I'm saying now? Do you still hear of anything like Edo Best? Do you hear of it anymore? Okay, but you go to our schools, go to our own traditional secondary schools.
We just contributed money to buy some chairs in my old boys.
Okay, the same thing.
And for the record, I attended Western Boys High School.
We regularly do that. Go to our dollar college. That's what we now do. They not fall back on the old boys. We have donated boards. We have donated doors to our old school. There is nothing reflective. Olumid went to Eastern land in one of those villages and saw a school. He couldn't contain it. It's not in the news. He built a new block for the school, provided time. He saw there it was raining. Children were just in some corners of the classrooms trying to, try to learn. Olumide wept. He had not even started contesting for governor. This one is not in the news. He was moved with empathy to say, no, this cannot happen. Some of those are part of the motivation of the man said, man, look, no, we can't have a government and still be like this. All the people you see now making, they are posting posters here and there and every other thing. You go to the rural areas of Edo State.
Yeah, but Comrade Lamte, let me stop you there. It's always very good to be fair so that our viewers will understand that myself and yourself, we are not hungry. It is good for me. I like to read all this. I think Chochi Osezuvwa Uwaifo, it's good for us to give them audience. He has just insulted you and said that you are wasting your time, whether you like it or not. PDP will carry their way, even though we've not talked about the election. It's also good to talk about Osuba Stephen, who has said, go and rest. No matter the blackmail, PDP will win. And then I can see Osamuyi TV also responding to them and saying that it's not about money. Osagbuwa has insulted again to say you are very blessed in your report, rubbish. It's good to read all those. Let us balance it. We are fair-minded people. We are people that are very okay. So for those contributors, please keep them coming. We'll be reading them. So Komilante, no hard feelings. We don't need to respond, but it's good to read it to the people. After all, the hunger in our state and the hunger in Nigeria is not just for me and you, it's them too as well. But I just wanted to balance it. Sorry for interrupting. Just make your point.
You know, pharmacists, sometimes I no longer respond to tantrums like this because, again, I've come to the understanding very strongly and firmly that the poverty of the mind, okay, pervades every sphere. And you'll be very surprised too that a lot of our Edo State people in diaspora, you know, they may live in some affluence materially, but they are very poor in mind. They don't even have a mind to even do any critical thinking. Some of them are following, they are just following the bad one gone because they hear one person on social media, okay, following. And so therefore, they are about to follow. They don't have
I just wanted to read that. Stay on the point. No problem. Leave me to do that.
I would say, but it is quite good to establish, my brother. Olumide just came to the UK and came on Europe tour. And you and I were taking stock the other day. You are a pharmacist. You left your pharmacy. You know, I left my own base to come and support Olumide in London. I went with it to Manchester and every other thing. We took stock. And in 1 week, you and I discovered that both of us put together, we have probably lost something close to 5,000 pounds. And when you quantify that in Naira, we are talking of something close to 10 million Naira, right? That is what we sacrifice for 1 week to support Olumide. But in this same country that we are, bro, I must say this same country that we are, okay, in a different environment, where I went to London to support Olumide, left work for 1 week. You understand what I'm saying now? And I know what I earn in a week, and you know what you earn in a week. You understand what I'm saying now? To be in London and Manchester with Olumide, to support him because I believe in his ticket and every other thing. In this same UK that we are in, some people said they are supporters, okay, and all of that, and they made some demand. And the agenda behind the demand, that they said they want to attend the event, but they want to mobilize, and they named certain figure. And the agenda behind the figure was that, oh, now politicians, they come, so now this is our time to chop and every other thing, and all of that. And this is against where I respected Olumide so much. I told Olumide, I said, Olumide, you know, a group like this wanted to come to your event, but they want XYZ amount of money to get themselves mobilized. And the man asked, how many vehicles are they bringing? Would you, like that we put fuel in their vehicles, or if they are renting a vehicle and every other thing and all of that? And I said, well, no, they have a different idea on how to do this thing. Olumide said, man, look, if it's not about getting vehicles to come to the event, I cannot do anything extra. Even if I have all the millions in the world, let the people who truly support me come to my event. You understand the picture from I'm saying now? I will not go ahead and bribe people or try to woo people to come to my event. If it's only 3 people who believe in me and they are there, we'll have a discussion. If it's only 4, we'll have a discussion. If it's 1 million, we'll have a discussion. But let me be assured that the people who have come for my event are the people who truly believe in our mandate. You understand what I'm saying? To change Edo State. And I thought that made a whole lot of sense. But meanwhile, there's another candidate who came to this UK who was sharing 30 pounds to Nigerians to attend his event. You see the difference. At the end of the day, when that person becomes governor, if that person becomes governor, what are we going to say?
And the same people that collected money will be crying.
The same people who collect money will be crying. You understand? I have said this over and over again. Okay? And I thank God. If you and I were people who wanted to enrich ourselves, to make money for ourselves, we probably would have settled for the APC candidates or even the PDP candidates.
Because at the moment they are ATMs.
Yeah, at the moment they are ATMs. They are spending federal funds and spending state funds to anybody. Olumide doesn't have that. Olumide is a private man, but we checked our own integrity.
Absolutely.
We checked the interest of Edo State, and we looked at all of them. and we say the man that we think that we can best hold to account to govern Edo State is Olumid Akpata. So instead of us saying, oh, this is what we need, we are spending our own money to support Olumid Akpata. We are spending our own time to support Olumid Akpata. And when Olumid Akpata becomes governor of Edo State, God willing, we are not interested in anything.
And if he begins to go against his promises, we will be against him from day one.
Quickly, from day one. Quickly. And he knows that. The Obaseki they are talking about now, some people are supporting right now. I don't know whether there's anybody alive today who supported Obaseki more than I did, more than you did in 2020. But after 1 year, we sat down and look at the Obaseki's government.
They were begging us, don't come out, don't come out.
Yeah, they begged us for a long time not to be critical, that this will change. Nearly 2 years, and I said, no. Things have not changed. This guy promised this, promised that, promise. We are not seeing them. Nearly 2 years. No, that was when I started becoming critical of the man.
But again, Komelante, we have learnt our lesson. From day one, it's going to be all out for
apparently, nobody is going to close our mouths. You understand what I'm saying now? But again, I think we have some confidence. We have interacted with this man from afar. He now came to the UK to meet us. We sat down.
In fact, Komelante, without further ado, let's just dovetail. PDP, APC are putting Edo State in crisis. There is only one chance, and that chance at the moment is the Labour Party, Olumid Akpata. Let's speak to that as we round up today's program.
Pharmacists, if we had any doubts previously, you and I were in London. We anchored the program in London. And we had the opportunity of sitting down with Olumid Akpata. If we were 20% convinced before he came, I am sure today we are like 90% convinced that this is the right man to become the governor of Edo State. Edo State people, I am not materially a rich man, but I am very, very rich in my mind and in my head. Okay? It does not matter how hungry I would be, I will never sell my soul to anybody for whatever amount of money. It's a policy I live by. But most of all, I am not hungry. I cannot mention. I work very hard for my money. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? I live within my means and I'm happy. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Everything you see me do here with enthusiasm is in the interest of Edo State. And my own interest in all of this is that in a few years, God willing, I will retire. And when I retire, I like to want to go back to my Edo State. I am a British citizen. I am a Spanish citizen. Okay? You don't get anybody they carry me, they go. You understand what I'm saying? That alone said, you get away, it said to me. But I like to go back to that Edo State. To go and, do my farming in a relaxed environment where I will not be terrorized by herdsmen, where, in a country where things will be a bit upright. I am not saying Olumide is a messiah, but I believe that Olumide will jumpstart a process that will lead us better into another process, another process. Where we are right now, the only option available for us, okay, particularly when you look at the shenanigans taking place already, the accusation and counter-accusation between APC and the PDP. Look, man, look at the history. 25 years is gone by. Ask yourself now, if you were born in that land, you are in your 40s, you are probably in your 50s, or you are nearly in your 50, or you are way past your 50. Check back and ask yourself, if you've been to the Edo State recently, is it the same Edo State? Honestly, okay, share my enthusiasm if you could. You know what I'm saying now? Olumide is coming right as an option. Olumide will have no godfather. Okay? We have seen and monitored his own track record as a man. Even as a private man, his level of empathy is unparalleled. People that have benefited from the goodwill of Olumide as a private man. You can't say that about Obaseki. There is nobody who will come up now, today, to say, Obaseki as a private man before coming to government, made me a better person. It's not there. It's not there. But in that of Olumid, it abounds. Not just because of any of them, but because we have a good man, a man with with empathy, who believes very strongly that there's a lot of leverage he can have with the government of Edo State to make life better for Edo State. I have seen that. But the good thing about it is that I am not carried away. I give for what I've seen. If Olumide become governor by the grace of God, and it does not work the work as he has promised, you understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Una know now, not about I have a chance. People when they worship Obaseki right now, you understand, I'm benefiting and every other thing personally. I had a chance, but man, that was not my call. Because when Obaseki was coming, I believe we had a social contract between him and Edo State people. I will give people diaspora agency. He failed to do that. We will provide health center across all the wards in Edo State. He failed to do that. I will conclude a Kenwa road within weeks. He failed to do that. Kenwa is not that for 8 years.
Health center.
Gelegele Sipo. Today nobody talking about it. Gelegele has eaten several billions of naira. You may not be aware.
Health centers.
Health centers and many more. And yet, the manner with which he got away with some of these things is the one that is even most annoying to some of us. So when I stand here and I say, I spoke to Aswa Udalo, and I've said this repeatedly. I said, my issue with Aswa Udalo is very straight. I don't trust Obaseki anymore. I trusted him when he was. I had a conversation with somebody earlier today. I said, we came to support Obaseki because of what Osomole did with him, not because we're convinced about his first step. Now, but some of us put more energy because I said any rational mind will look at the support he's getting right now. Okay, if he had not done well in the first step, he will, look at this support and let me reward these people because of the support they're giving to me. Now, look at where I have issue with Aswa. Aswa was chairman of Sterling Bank. Obaseki made Sterling Bank because of Aswa the official bank of Edo State. So every state transaction passed through Sterling Bank, presumably. Today, Edo State is owing nearly 600 billion as against 79 billion Obaseki met when he came on board, taking over from Osomole. Okay? And this 600 billion we're talking about right now passed through Sterling Bank. Right? Aswa was head of the economic team of Obaseki. Now, Obaseki now brought Aswa through all whatever means. We have seen all the drama playing out. Okay? That is a never-ending drama. To add insult to injury, he now brought his SSG, the man who has been the de facto deputy
24 years.
For 8 years and has been in government for 24 years, to pay Aswa Udalo. Now the question is, what are they hiding? These three people know everything about all the transactions of Edo State. All. Now I thought, in any rational and in any balanced society, people should be able to look at what has happened in the past and give a plus to where plus is deserving and question where question marks are deserving. Now, there is no way anybody will question Obaseki's reign if Aswa become governor of Edo State, because it's part of the same matter. Obaseki told us that the stormwater project by Osomole that got 30 billion, he was going to probe that project. We campaign with it, pharmacists.
Absolutely.
Obaseki never said a word about that matter since he became governor. Now, you and I know that people of integrity, we take you by your word. By your word and the fulfillment of your word, we will praise you to high heavens. But if you fail to live by the promises you make, there's a problem. He told us about Azura power plant. Okay? Now, the relevance of Azura power plant today, nobody is talking about it.
And Alex Oti has done it under 1 year.
Fuel is still at what price it is. I hear that is it Aba, the capital of this thing, Abia State, by Alex Oti, light has become 24 hours stable, and they want to extend to some other local governments right now. In one local government, it is 10 to 24 hours supplied by the state government. You promised that Osioma power plant that was generating about 450 kVA, as it were, okay, you were going to make within 2 years, make it, about over 1,000 that will supply steadily power to major part of Edo State. Today we are still in darkness. Nobody's even talking about it anymore. Even the people, the industrial layout you created, and say, oh, someone will be supplying. You understand the picture from I'm saying now? People that have opened businesses there, some have called me that they paid exorbitantly because they were guaranteed a steady power supply. Now they don't have lights. It's not steady anymore.
A source of farm, 200 billion.
Gone. 1 day, 2 days, you have street lights, okay? They come on for 1 or 2 days and every other thing. The social media issues will go all about, oh, street light is on, oh, this, you know what I'm saying? The other days that they are not working, nobody's talking about them. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? So at the end of the day, there were so many promises made that were not fulfilled. And yet, you have run a government where you have collected the highest IGR ever in the history of the state. Over 5 billion every month IGR. 16 billion. I mean, well, let me not put exaggerated figure. Allocation comes to you. Derivation comes to you. Other small things that the state will do as business and every other thing, they come to you. Now, in recent time, you told us that you were partnering to build Radisson Blu Hotel. Radisson Blu is franchise. My idea about franchise is that if I buy a franchise license, for instance, okay, or if a franchise is coming to Edo State, as a government, what I do is to provide land for them where they will build. It is their business to build their own hotel. Now, you have taken over 20 billion of Edo State money to build Radisson Blu, and yet it is not the property of Edo State government. So there are so many questions, my brother, that people are not critically asking.
And in law, you run a government without House of Assembly.
I just want to tell the matter. You run a government with 9-man House of Assembly. Apparently, without House of Assembly, it was convenient. We applauded you at the time. We thought that it was going to be beneficial. Okay. For 1 year, you had no commissioners, and the money is devoted to every ministry, but there were no commissioners. You were working with permanent secretaries. In 1 year, it was just you, your deputy, and your SSG. You didn't even have chief of staff. And we were here covering for you, believing that you are taking your time. But we were questioning our minds. Are we okay? 1 year, there was no government. It was practically just you. And yet all the monies that accrue to all of these ministries today is voicemail. Nobody's talking about them. You understand what I'm saying now? Now, we elected you for many, many different reasons. Apart from the promises you made, that you will be a pillar of democracy for Edo State. Irrespective of, how the matter would be, you will give us a proper election. Let Nigeria learn from you. Some of us even projected that you will become the next president of Nigeria because you will excel in Edo State. You conducted election into House of Assembly. It was shambolic. You were worse than what we have ever seen in Nigeria. You conducted election into local government offices, local government elections. Man, it was the worst we probably have seen in a long time. It was purely you selected people into that thing, and the next Sunday you went to church to go and give testimony. Even when you knew you actually sinned against the people, you want to give testimony. The same church you are telling us now that you're giving bag of rice to share. I mean, when we now know, when some of us already know that, but you and the church, you are all the same sides of the same coin, and you want us to believe that you actually mean well for Edo State people. Come on, cut the block.
Anyway, Komilante, thank you so much. I think today's show has been so good. Interestingly, as we round up viewers, especially talking to Edo State people, I want to appeal to your consciences. There are 3 parties, like we'll say, front runners, justing to lead Edo State. Look at your conscience. Don't listen to anybody. If you are educated enough, take your pen, write things down, and juxtapose it. The answer is almost very clear. And let me also say to those of us that would have accused many people, including myself, of taking money, I think, as sophisticated as Governor Godwin Obaseki, If Comrade Show and indeed Comrade Lanty and myself have taken money, those evidences would have been everywhere now. So please, let us be sure we all mean well for Edo State. I am married to an Esan woman, and my in-laws are Esan. Growing up in Edo State and in Benin City, over 90% of my friends are Esan people. I speak Esan language very fluently as much as I speak Benin. I have every reason whatsoever to support an Esan candidate if we're going to go by that. And today, there are 2 Esan candidates running for office and 1 Benin person. I am from Otuo, on 1 North, on 1 East local government of Edo State. But I've looked beyond all this. I've put those passions away, but to look at the development of Edo State. I must say, in my entire adult life, majority, if not most, of all the ministers of works from Edo State have come from Esan land. Today, there are no roads in Esan land. The roads completed were those completed by, I think, Oshomole. So please, as we go to the polls, let us consider Edo State and take our mind away from all these many frivolities. 21st of September beacons, and we need a new change. In my view, I think Olumide Akpata represents that. And he speaks the truth and truth to power. All of them are not good because there's nobody at the moment that is good in Nigeria. But the choice before us are these 3. It is good for us to look and see who fits the bill and who can do it well. And as we go to the polls, let us remember Abia State. Let us remember one Governor Oti of Labour Party. Somebody also made a comment. What about the senator from Labour Party who is standing now? He has not done much. Of course, what do you expect from senators and House of Rep? They don't do anything. Talking of Neda Imaswen, it was an accident in Labour Party. But he's just a senator, so we leave the people of Edo South to hold him responsible. But we are talking of our state now, and that's why we are calling on you to think wisely. And let me end this sarcastically. All of them are thieves. Let us consider the lesser thieves. And the lesser thief at the moment, who has not stolen at all, is Olumide Akpata. At least when he gets there, he'll begin to learn the rope of stealing. He'll be better than those that are already masters in the game and know what to do. That is if Olumide at all will be somebody that wants to steal. He has given himself and offered himself. It's a clarion call and an opportunity. Let us not do it the same way. If not, we're going to come back here again to talk about this and we'll never move forward. To be wise is to do the right thing now so that tomorrow will be better. We got the same warning when it was presidential election. So what we are getting now is not different. So friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, it's been a very sweet one. And I think we're ending on a very, very interesting note. Because myself and Comrade Lanty always say, at this point, our conscience is important. And once our conscience is satisfied, we really don't care. Whether Olumide wins or not, our conscience is clear that we've taken the clarion call. We cannot go back again to Egypt. Let us think well and think well. On this note, I want to thank Daddy Rex, who rang in all the way from Paris, France, to put his view on this. We look forward to what happened day 5, day 6 of the protest and see where it will go. Komelante, as we bring the show to a close, what is your parting words?
Well, there are 2 sides to this. Edo State and Nigeria. I think that it is my hope that the people leading the protest will look at the current environment. I probably think that if this team is still there, they should still exhaust the 10 days and of course see what happens afterwards. But for Edo State, we have just barely 50 days now to the elections, and all I can see is that there is nobody right now that can say that Edo State is where it ought to be. And I think that right now we have a clear choice before us. Many of us have been hoodwinked by pictures. There's been a lot of optics displayed and every other thing. Now, I honestly think, without missing words, that based on what we have found out, what we have observed, Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party will capture the interest of Edo State people best. He will represent the people best. And he has said that it must be about the people. And as a matter of fact, his own private life has always been about the people. Somebody told me recently, said, Olumide does not forget friendship. You know what I'm saying? And all of that. He's not a man who who forgets where the sun comes to dry him when the rain has actually, beating him black and blue. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? And, it was trying to reflect on this by saying that Olumide cannot forget Edo State people. If Edo State people truly come out and make him the governor of Edo State, you understand? It will be about the people. And he has echoed that over and over and over again. He told me, he said, comrade, all these statistics when they mention, can't bring computer, can't do this or this one. And as they do, they look the pot of soup when they each person this thing, whether those things they reflect from there. If you are giving some statistics and it is not reflecting the lives of the people, they have their transportation, they have their, they put food for their table, they reduce gari, they reduce rice, they useless data now they reel out. Let us deal with the issues. And where again he earned my respect even more. I said, Olu, what are you going to do about agriculture? He said, first, we are going to ensure that we rescue our farmlands from, these marauders, Hesme and every other thing. So by the time we fully rescue our farmlands, we will make sure we encourage our farmers to go back to their farms. He said, the government will play in that matter. I said, how? He said, when the farmers harvest, particularly the large-scale farmers, they want to ensure that as a government, they buy their produce from them and repackage those produce for the Edo State, market, which means that government may now start having designated, trade points in every market where they are selling farm produce from Edo State farms, and it must be feed Edo State first as a policy before we go out to anywhere. So, as a party shot, I think that we have a lot that is encouraging about Olumide's manifesto, and it's very practical, it's achievable, it's believable. And I would just think that we don't have any other option right now. The only option we have for this election coming is to support Olumide Akpata. And that's, just to summarize, Olumide is the only candidate that will win this election, and all PDP followers will be at home with him. All the APC followers will be at home with him. Everybody will be at home with him. But the enmity that has grown between APC and PDP, as we already see, if we make the mistake with any of them, we are going to land Edo State in a deeper, water. We need to rescue Edo State in every way by ensuring that we support Olumide Akpata. That will be my parting shot, my brother.
Thank you so much, Edo State. We must rescue we must. Bye for now, till we come your way again next week.
Edo people, who's your guy? Olumide Akpata, see as we dey like beans and rice. Edo people, I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever, time to you, my people. Even if the road be rough, I know mine. 'Cause together we shall stand.
People, make we all come out on election day and vote Olumide Osaigbavo Akpata, una guy, as governor of Edo State. He ready to change our story and bring better life for we and our pikin them. Vote Labour Party, the party for Papa, Mama and Pikin. Make we vote well, Oludi, confirm. Now you be our guy. Labour Party, forward ever.
Olumide Akpata.
Yes.